Mingoose Mouse lived in a house in the forest near the mountain by the sea, and most mornings in the forest were very sensible. The leaves stayed on the trees. The flowers stayed in the ground. Mr. Hugh Linwood stayed in his deck chair with his newspaper. Puff Chicken stayed mostly chicken-shaped unless something dramatic happened. Semolina Pilchard stayed cheerful, golden, and ready with a biscuit. Snark Claw stayed high in the branches, watching everything with sharp eyes. And Raarrous Bear stayed calm unless he was hungry, angry, or protecting a friend, and then he went rawr. But on this particular morning, nothing stayed where it was supposed to stay. Mingoose Mouse opened the front door of her little house and blinked. Her flower pots were floating above the path. The washing line was hanging underneath the bushes. A spoon was resting on a cloud. And Semolina Pilchard's favorite pink biscuit drifted gently past her window like a tiny round moon. Mingoose Mouse stepped outside very carefully. "That is not where biscuits usually go," she said. Just then, Puff Chicken came wobbling backwards down the path. "Mouse! Mingoose Mouse!" she cried. "I am walking the wrong way." She flapped her wings and tried to walk forwards, but her feet kept taking her backwards. "I am not doing this on purpose," said Puff Chicken. "I am a respectable chicken." Mingoose Mouse gave her a steady look. "No panic. We go steady." Puff Chicken tried to nod, but her head bobbed backwards too. "That is easy for you to say," she said. "Your feet are behaving." Before Mingoose could answer, Mr. Hugh Linwood's voice called from the clearing. "This newspaper is an outrage." Mingoose Mouse and Puff Chicken hurried over and found Mr. Hugh Linwood sitting in his deck chair, holding his newspaper upside down. But the newspaper was not just upside down. The letters were running from the bottom of the page to the top, and every headline had turned itself backwards. Mr. Hugh Linwood frowned at it. "I have read many difficult things in my time," he said, "but I draw the line at a newspaper that climbs." Semolina Pilchard came rushing in next, or at least he tried to. His feet were on the ground, but his fez tassel was floating straight up in the air, pulling his head slightly backwards. His black sunglasses had slipped sideways, and 3 biscuits floated in a circle around him. "I have a situation," said Semolina. "My biscuits have forgotten how to fall." One of the biscuits gently bumped Mr. Hugh Linwood on the nose. "Excuse me," said Mr. Hugh Linwood. "Food should wait to be offered." Then Snark Claw appeared overhead, flying in a neat circle. This way, he called. But after one full loop, he landed on the exact same branch he had started from. "That was not this way," he muttered. "That was the same way." He tried again. He flapped hard, soared past the blue portal tree, circled the clearing, and landed on the same branch again. "Something is wrong with the sky," said Snark Claw. "The sky is repeating itself." Then came a soft thump from behind the trees. Raarrous Bear had tried to sit down, but instead of sitting, he was gently drifting upwards. His large paws paddled slowly in the air as he rose past a low branch. "Mingoose Mouse," he said calmly. "I do not wish to be rude, but I appear to be floating." Puff Chicken gasped. "The bear is going up." Semolina Pilchard reached for him, but one of his floating biscuits got in the way. Mr. Hugh Linwood folded his climbing newspaper and looked over the top of it. "This is what happens," he said, "when forests stop respecting gravity." Mingoose Mouse looked across the clearing. The blue portal tree was glowing faintly. Its branches shimmered. Its bark gave a tiny rumble. Then the whole tree made a soft sound. Hic. Mingoose Mouse narrowed her eyes. "Ah," she said. "I think the portal tree has hiccuped." Everyone turned to look at the blue portal tree. The tree shimmered again. Its blue leaves trembled. The portal in the trunk flickered once, then twice, then gave another tiny sound. Hic. At once Mr. Hugh Linwood's deck chair turned sideways. Puff Chicken spun gently on the spot. Semolina Pilchard's biscuits floated higher. Snark Claw flew one circle and landed upside down on a branch with his claws above his head. And Raarrous Bear drifted slowly into the lower branches of a tree and became stuck there like a very large furry balloon. "I am still calm," said Raarrous Bear, "but I would prefer the ground." Puff Chicken puffed. She puffed so quickly that she became a round ball of feathers with 2 tiny eyes and 2 little feet poking out underneath. "This is too upside down," she squeaked. There is a bear in a tree, biscuits in the sky, and my walking has gone wrong. Mingoose Mouse lifted one paw. We are not going to flap, puff, roar, gobble, or panic. Semolina Pilchard raised one finger. May we nibble? Not yet, said Mingoose Mouse. We need to understand what has changed. Mr. Hugh Linwood tapped the ground with his walking stick. The stick bounced up and gently tapped him back on the hat. He stared at it. Even my stick has become cheeky. Mingoose Mouse walked slowly toward the blue portal tree. With every step, the ground felt slightly wobbly, as if the forest could not remember which way was down. The portal tree is tired, she said. The nibbler came through, then the crumbs came through, then everyone rushed and shouted and pulled and pushed. I think the tree has had too much magic at once. The tree gave another tiny hick. A row of daisies popped out of the ground, spun in the air, and landed neatly in Mr. Hugh Linwood's teacup. Mr. Hugh Linwood looked into the cup. I was drinking that, he said. Snark Claw flapped furiously from his upside-down branch. I can help. I can fly high and see where the magic is bending. He launched himself into the air, spun round, looped twice, and landed in the same place, still upside down. I have seen the same branch 3 times, he said. It is a boring branch. Semolina Pilchard tried to catch one of his floating biscuits, but every time he reached for it, the biscuit rose a little higher. Come down at once, he told it. You are not a bird. Puff Chicken, still round and puffed, rolled backwards into a bush. I am not steering, she cried. Raarrous Bear reached down from the tree and gently caught her before she rolled into the blue portal tree. Thank you, said Puff Chicken. That was very bear-like of you. You are welcome, said Raarrous Bear. When I am not floating, I am very useful. Mingoose Mouse looked carefully around the clearing. Everything was wrong, but not everything. The leaves were floating. The biscuits were floating. The newspaper was climbing. The walking stick was bouncing. But one thing had not moved. Near the root of the blue portal tree, hanging from its small wooden hook, was Mingoose Mouse's little blue bell. It was still exactly where it always was. It did not float. It did not spin. It did not climb. It did not hiccup. Mingoose Mouse pointed to it. There, she said. The bell still remembers. Remembers what? Asked Semolina Pilchard. Which way the forest is supposed to be, said Mingoose Mouse. Mr. Hugh Linwood nodded. A sensible bell. I have always respected that bell. Puff Chicken tried to unpuff, but only managed to become slightly oval. So ring it, she cried. Ring it quickly before my feet reverse into next Tuesday. Mingoose Mouse stepped toward the bell, but as soon as she reached out, the portal tree gave its biggest hiccup yet. Kaisi. The bell swung out of reach. The ground tilted. Semolina Pilchard's fez lifted off his head and floated away. Mr. Hugh Linwood's newspaper wrapped itself around his knees. Snark Claw spun off his branch and landed in a soft pile of leaves. Raarrous Bear drifted higher, and the little blue bell began to hum. The little blue bell hummed louder and louder. It glowed softly, not like the portal tree, but like a calm blue star. Mingoose Mouse stood very still. Nobody grab, she said. Nobody rush. Semolina Pilchard was already reaching for his floating fez, but he froze. I was only preparing to grab with elegance, he said. No grabbing with elegance either, said Mingoose Mouse. She looked up at Raarrous Bear. Can you reach the branch above the bell? Raarrous Bear stretched one great paw from where he floated in the tree. I think so. Very gently he held the branch steady. Mingoose looked at Snark Claw. Can you fly low instead of high? Snark Claw shook himself out of the leaves. Low flying. Sensible. Less sky nonsense. He flapped carefully, not up, but across. This time he did not circle back. He landed on the branch Raarrous Bear was holding. I am here, he called, and it is not the same branch. Progress. Mingoose Mouse looked at Puff Chicken. Can you roll slowly to the root of the tree and stop the bell swinging too far? Puff Chicken blinked. I am round. I am emotional. But yes. She rolled carefully across the grass, backwards at first, then sideways, then forward by accident, until she bumped gently against the root of the blue portal tree. I have arrived, she said proudly. Mostly on purpose. Mingoose Mouse turned to Semolina Pilchard. I need one biscuit. Semolina Pilchard gasped. For eating? For balancing, said Mingoose. Ah, said Semolina. A noble use. He took one floating biscuit between two careful fingers and passed it to Mingoose Mouse. The biscuit tried to rise, but Mingoose placed it on the ground beneath the bell. It hovered there, halfway up, making a perfect little stepping place. Mr. Hugh Linwood pulled the newspaper from his knees and folded it flat. And I suppose you will need a tray, he said. He slid the newspaper under the biscuit so it could not float away. Thank you, Mr. Linwood, said Mingoose Mouse. Very useful. Mr. Hugh Linwood gave a small, satisfied nod. I have always said newspapers are practical objects. With Raarrous Bear holding the branch, Snark Claw steadying the hook, Puff Chicken bracing the root, Semolina Pilchard guarding the biscuit, and Mr. Hugh Linwood holding the newspaper tray, Mingoose Mouse climbed carefully onto the floating biscuit. The bell swung toward her. The portal tree trembled. Hic. Steady, whispered Mingoose Mouse. We go steady. She reached out one paw and touched the little blue bell. It was warm. It hummed once. Mingoose Mouse gave it the gentlest ring. Ding. The sound moved through the forest like a soft blue wave. The floating leaves drifted down. The spoon came off the cloud. The daisies slid out of Mr. Hugh Linwood's teacup and popped back into the ground. Semolina Pilchard's biscuits dropped neatly into his hands. His fez landed on his head the right way round. Snark Claw landed on the correct branch and stayed there. Puff Chicken unpuffed with a small poof. Mr. Hugh Linwood's newspaper returned to ordinary reading, and Raarrous Bear came gently down from the tree and landed on the grass with a soft thud. For a moment, nobody spoke. Then Raarrous Bear sat down properly. Ah, he said, the ground. I missed it. Puff Chicken looked at her feet and took one careful step forward, then another. I am walking the right way, she cried. Semolina Pilchard hugged his biscuit tin. My biscuits have remembered their manners. Mr. Hugh Linwood opened his newspaper. And my headlines are no longer climbing. Excellent. Snark Claw flapped once around the clearing and landed somewhere different. The sky is fixed, he called. The blue portal tree gave one last tiny shimmer. Then it went quiet. Mingoose Mouse patted its bark gently. You had too much magic, didn't you? The tree rustled its leaves as if it agreed. Semolina Pilchard looked serious. Perhaps after every large portal adventure, the tree needs a rest. Yes, said Mingoose Mouse. No shouting near it, no biscuit experiments near it, no pulling things through unless we must. Puff Chicken raised one wing. And no upside-down days before breakfast, Mr. Hugh Linwood nodded. A very reasonable rule. Raarrous Bear smiled. And if the tree hiccups again, we ring the bell. Mingoose Mouse looked around at her friends. Only calmly, she said, always calmly. And from that day on, whenever the blue portal tree shimmered, everyone checked the bell, checked the biscuits, checked the sky, and checked that Puff Chicken was walking the right way. Because in Mingoose Mouse's forest, strange things could happen at any time. But whatever happened, they knew what to do. No panic, no grabbing, no gobbling, no flapping. With Mingoose Mouse, we always go steady.